home of the performing arts ensembles, the Black Voice of Inspiration, the Haraka Writers, the Jahari Dance Troupe, and the New Directional Players. Located in West Lafayette, we are here at Purdue University. I am in charge of overseeing the performing arts component of the Black Cultural Center, and it is a joy to be a part of bringing artistry to youth of all ages. Young lady, would you please identify yourself?
My name is Tracy Jackson. This is my 4th year at Purdue University. My major is public relations, and I'm also the student coordinator for Haraka Writers.
Would you give us a short, brief description of what your duties and responsibility are for the student coordinator of Haraka Writers?
Yes. Very briefly, my position as student coordinator is basically to serve as someone who can communicate to the student body and also to the artists in residence from the people that's in Haraka.
And what is it that you communicate to them?
Basically, I think that as a student, I probably could give them a better insight from a student's perspective of how we would like to do certain things and how we would like to present a certain problem that we know that we all commonly have.
What's the joy that you get? Can you talk a little bit about the joy that you get from being a part of the Haraka Writers?
I would say that the joy that I get probably would be basically to voice my opinion, and when you're on the stage, you are usually the center of attention, so you can create whatever it is that you want to create. You can make your opinion seem valid, though a lot of people may not agree with you on that particular perspective. And also, when you go out, people ask you, what did you mean by when you said so-and-so? And, you know, sometimes a lot of people didn't agree with you to begin with, but after you present to them different sides of the story, usually they ask you for copies of your poetry and so on. So it's very rewarding at the end.
What would you consider one of the most exciting moments you've had as a Haraka Writer member?
I think one of the most exciting moments that I had was Haraka had performed, and I think it was Cultural Arts Festival last year, and someone came up to me and they said that Haraka Writers made the show, and I personally felt welcomed because a lot of people haven't learned to appreciate poetry yet, especially on this campus, and so that meant a lot. And we worked very hard, and I was very happy.
If there was one thing that you had to say to convince me to bring Haraka Writers to my particular institution, what would it be?
I would simply say in one quick statement that creativity breeds poetry. And I think if we can come up with words of wisdom, we can come up with pretty much anything. And I always think that Haraka Writers, we are young prophets. I got that from our artist in residence, Sporty King. And I think if the more we look at it like that, the more we can act as mentors for those that's younger than us.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Because then we'll make the poem from the words that we collect.
What?
What's the word? The word
Y'all need to be doing some exercises.
The word is thanks. So we'll start with the letter T, and then each person's just going to have to give me a word to go with that, with the T, a positive word, and then you need to write all the words that we write, because then we'll create the poem from the word we collect. And you don't need to raise your hand, because what I'm going to do is just go in order, and I'm not going to tell you when I'm going to stop. And I'm not going to tell you what letter I'm on, okay? Clear? So the letter T, give me a positive word to go with letter T. West.
Triumphant.
Triumphant. Bernard. You don't need to write all these down. You're going to need them.
Hope y'all can spell.
Triumphant.
Am I on the same letter?
You're still on T.
Okay. Trustworthy.
Trustworthy. Sean.
Telepositivity.
Is that a word?
No, of course not.
Okay, give me a real word.
Is that it?
No,
I can
there ain't no telepositivity.
I thought it was gonna
We ain't in
leave
living
it on
color.
somebody else. I
You
can,
see, you think he is living color with Dave and Wyatt, you know. See, the telepositivity of the situation
Jesse is a
Langston man.
Jesse is a spread it.
Okay, come on, give me a positive.
Oh, jeez.
T,
Take off.
take off. Vet,
Tiger.
tiger. Let's switch to the letter H. Tim,
Harmony. Harmony.
Jamie,
Haraka.
Haraka. Storm,
That's you.
I don't know the words that start with H,
yes you do.
except for my last name. Happy. How about happy?
Happy, sporty, hero.
Let's see.
I thought I know you knew, right? West, another word with H.
Helios.
Who?
H-E-I-O-S.
H-E-L-I-O.
H-E-L-I-O-S, I'm sorry.
Okay, the letter A. Bernard.
Ambitious.
Ambitious. Sean. Oh gosh. No, we need an A.
I got it.
Where you from?
I will.
I'm gonna look at
Survey
says.
Okay. Back.
Arrogant.
Arrogant.
I thought we were saying positive.
No, arrogant is a good thing if you ask me.
Thank you. Charismatic arrogance is important to have. Michael Jordan has charismatic arrogance. Arrogance, such a deep belief in yourself
Right.
that other people may feel that you're offensive, but it's not necessarily a negative
It's
word.
called being convinced.
There
not
you
No.
go.
Oh, my
Tim,
Ambidextrous.
That was what I was
ambidextrous.
thinking. That's A-M-B-I.
Oh, I
Jamie.
should have put an A.
Anxious.
Anxious. I thought that you would come up with that one, Sean.
Ancient. Ancient.
Ancient. Okay, we throw ancient in there and storm.
You know what? I don't have any more room on this line. I'm
Okay,
gonna go
so
ahead and
use
do
the letter
N.
N. So use the letter N.
I'm not good at this.
Yes, you are.
You can't
But you're
be.
getting
You
better.
will.
That's the key.
Nappy.
Nappy.
Right on.
Okay, West. N.
What did she say?
Nappy. Even though nappy spelled with a K. Uh-huh. Isn't it?
What? No, the word.
Nicely is the word.
Nice.
Nice. You remember the song?
Nice and nasty.
Nice and nasty.
By this and that.
No, by Miss Chalet.
Oh, well, this and that.
Nicely. Okay, go. Or not.
Can't use nice.
They
Nice and nasty.
New.
You can call me
New.
nasty.
Sean.
What was the word again?
No.
New. Anytime. Knowledge. Jamie, one with N, and then you give us a K.
Nebulous.
Nebulous. Okay, now with the N, with the K.
What does nebulous mean?
I will buy the rock a dictionary.
K.
I mean, I'm
Okay.
King.
I know what it is.
Kings. That's my family. Storm.
I can't put my finger on it.
Anytime you're ready.
Would you just briefly identify yourself for us, please?
Okay, yeah, well, I'm Sporty King. Live in Bolingbrook, Illinois. I'm the artist in residence here at Haraka Writers.
And Haraka Writers is what?
Now, Haraka Writers is one of the 4 ensembles that under the umbrella of the Black Cultural Center at Purdue. And the four ensembles, obviously, they're the dancers, the singers, the actors, and we are the writers. So it's a collection of poets, basically, and some short story writers, but most of them are poets, and we base all we do around poetry.
Great. As the artist in residence, what do you see your role as artist in residence in terms of working with these young, budding, professional writers?
And actually, I think that's a great way of looking at it, because they are budding writers, but I think when you look at what they're actually here doing at Purdue, we have to also recognize that this is not necessarily a liberal arts school. And so this is an extra gift that I think each of them possess, to have this as an extracurricular activity. So I see my role as being one that helps them work on their presentation, because I think that poetry is not something that you can necessarily say, oh, that was a good poem or that was a bad poem. I think the key is to help young people see that this outlet that they're using to express themselves is something that will give them a voice, and then sometimes we have to say, oh, that's how you're feeling, and not have to say to them, that feeling's no good. But it's, oh, is that how you're feeling? And now we may find as instructors that maybe we need to look at, maybe there's something else, there's an underlying challenge that the student is having with their regular lives. And so that's one thing I try to do, is keep them focused on the positive, because what they'll tend to do, and I think that all writers start out doing it, and I think I did too when I started out writing poetry, is write about the problems of the world, because teenagers got the solution to all the problems of the world, but they tend to identify the problem but not identify the solution. So I think that that's a big part of my role, is to try to help them focus on the solution.
Great, thank you. In your tenure as artist in residence of the Haraka writers, what would you classify as one of the most memorable or exciting moments that you have experienced with them?
Easy. Easy. When we did our ensemble performance, our first one as a group, up until that time, honestly, I did not know how much of an effect I was having on them. You can, and as an instructor, or a boss, even in corporate America, you can think that you're affecting your employees, your staff, or whatever, but when they get, or even as a coach on a sports team, when they get out and perform, and you can actually look at the end product. I mean, I sat and watched them at that performance, and I felt like a proud father. I was so excited because they believed in themselves. And poetry really does tend, it's not like the other ensembles where, the dancers, they come to practice, and there's a synchronicity that's necessary, and the singers, but poets usually start out as closet poets, and they don't necessarily want to perform their craft. It's more like, well, this is something personal that I felt. And so for them to take that step and come out and say, yes, this is how I feel, and I'd like to share this, because that's what it is. It's a message. And they need to get that message out, because they're representing somebody in that audience who can't put it in words that way, but they're feeling the same thing. So that was just a wonderfully exciting moment for me, to watch them get up and smile and present, and their vocal variety was wonderful, their gestures were wonderful, and the confidence that they had in what they were saying, it was phenomenal, and it was real.
Great. If you're looking at me as a potential sponsor for wanting to bring Haraka writers to my institution, my performing arts venue, what would you share with me that would say things that make you go,
Well, first of all, you have to know that you've got a short window of opportunity because, they're in college. And so they're either going to be here 4 years, and when some students may switch to a double major, and then they may end up being here 6 years or whatever. So you have to be a proactive investor, basically. You have to believe that this is something that is going to benefit your company, or maybe you're sponsoring us to speak in a school and talk to some younger kids, because we're a bridge. You know, these are people who, these students have just come from being young and they're on their way to being more mature. And so when we talk about investing in the future, one of my personal philosophies is that children are not our future, they're our present. And so we have to look at investing in them right away, because as we encourage them, then they can in turn encourage the next level, and then they bridge that gap, because there's a gap of understanding, and I think it's a natural gap, because, you know, when we were 10, you know, what we know at 22, you know, to tell that to a 10-year-old, you know what, you shouldn't be doing that, it's not going to sink in. But then once that 10-year-old gets 22, then they say, oh, now I see what they meant. It's no different with them being 22 and us being 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 and up. You know, as you mature, you have to be willing to pass that baton and let the younger generation have their voice and guide them rather than push them through the door. So I think as a sponsor bringing the writers in, or any of the ensembles, you have to have that open mind to say, okay, we're going to let them express themselves, and then we're going to find out how to best use that expression to show them that the message is no different. It's just coming from a different venue.
In one short sentence,
Which I'm not good at, right? Yeah.
Sum up Haraka in one short sentence.
Young prophets.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Go for it.
Would you just take a moment and briefly identify yourself, please?
Well, my name is Yvette Brown, and I am a senior, super senior. I graduate 2000, December, with a creative writing and a professional writing major. I'm from Gary, Indiana, graduated in 1993, took a year off, graduated early from high school, all that type of good stuff.
Good. I know that you've been a member of Haraka Writer for several years. Can you please just share with us what your role and your involvement with the Haraka Writer Performing Arts Ensemble has been and is?
In the beginning, I was just a basic member. I was there to learn from the people that had been there longer than me, and just to try to absorb as much as I possibly could. Eventually, I ended up being the student coordinator. Then from student coordinator, went back to a member. But now, since changing my major, I try to bring them different types of workshops to do to expand their imagery and their poetry, as well as just different subject matter, and try to pull out as much talent that I believe they have out of them as possible.
What of the workshops that you mentioned, what particular workshop have you found to have been the most effective in working with Haraka writers?
The 10-word challenge. You get 10 words, and you use them in any particular order, but you have to use them in 10 lines. That's it, 1 word per line, and in the form that they're given. It drives them crazy, but it pulls out things that they never thought that they could do. That's what I like the most.
And you say it pulls out things. What kinds of things?
Just lines, and just the way they form their words is something that they never really thought about, and it puts them on the spot, because you have less than like 5 minutes to put all this together. You don't have enough time to sit down and think about what you're going to do. You just have to do it. So it's just your raw talent is basically pulled out of you.
Okay. During your experiences with Haraka, and there have been many and they've been varied, what would you consider to be one of the most uplifting and exciting moments for you as a member of the Haraka Writers?
The best thing was the anthology that we did. Nappy New Millennium.
Eclipsing the Nappy.
Yeah, Eclipsing the Nappy New Millennium. That was great, because I had the chance to be involved in the process of it. Not just contributing, but also to see the things that went on behind the scenes. That meant a lot to me.
And could you just explain a little bit about what Eclipsing the Nappy New Millennium is?
It's an anthology of Midwest poets, and it had people. Eugene Redman was in there, and then you have Kelly Norman Ellis, Frank Walker. It was just writers from all throughout the Midwest and from Purdue as well, that submitted their works. And it came off, I really liked the way it turned out, because we had students that weren't a part of Haraka that also contributed. So you know that this isn't all the talent that you have here from the black students. It's not just in Haraka, but some of us may not be able to participate, but we're out there.
If there was one thing that you wanted to share with a potential sponsor, talk to me about why I should bring Haraka to my company's Christmas party, or why should I bring Haraka to sit on the stage and talk about the dedication of a new Black Culture Center.
The question for me would be, why are you worthy for me to perform my works for you? Because I'm doing you, I see it like this, I'm bringing you something different that you wouldn't have had before. I'm a young Black student, and how can you get something so rare, one, and someone so talented to come to you? It's not, I really see it that we're a gift and we're a blessing to other people. Sometimes people can be a blessing to us, but I think what we do is special. And I think that anything that we can do, anything that we do, it's for you, you know? So it's like, if you're coming to me and you want me to do something for you, you have to tell me why you feel you're worthy for me to do this for you. I guess you can say it's an artistic ego thing, but I honestly feel that anything that we do as Haraka, we can't just do it because you want us to. We have to be able to feel it. We have to feel welcome to do it. And also, depends what type of program you want. If it's for kids, I think we'll just bend over backwards for them. There's no problem with that. If it's something corporate, you have to be willing to expand your horizons and to open your mind about what we're going to bring to the table for you. So, I don't know. I think the question for me would be why are you worthy for me to do this for you?
In one brief sentence, sum up what Haraka means.
Growth. That's it. It's growth. Growth through struggle and growth through just prosperity. It all boils down to growth.
Thank you. Would you, young lady, would you please just simply identify who you are?
Okay. Hi, my name is Jessica Willis. I'm a junior majoring in telecommunications here at Purdue University. I'm a third-year student here, being a part of new to directional players here at the Black Cultural Center.
And where'd you come to Purdue from?
I'm originally from Augusta, Georgia, so I'm a long way from home. But I love Purdue. I don't like the Indiana cold weather, but I love Purdue.
Great. As a member of the New Directional Players, what do you see as your role in that particular performing arts ensemble?
Wow. Well, like I said before, I've been a member of New Directional Players for 3 years now, so I kind of see myself as, I like to see myself as one, like a facilitator, a person that kind of helps everybody else out. They need help with makeup, they need help with clothes, they need help with lines. I'm always there. I always offer my services. I'm always like, if you need some help, I'm here if you need me. So that's how I kind of see my role, as, you know, kind of helping everyone else out.
Do you find that help being challenging to you, worthwhile, noteworthy? How would you describe it?
Oh, I think it's very worthwhile. Just the experience of being able to do this work with fellow people that are very dedicated to the art of acting and also that love it. I think it's wonderful because we get to see all the different people's personalities and different characters mesh and come together for one common goal, and that's presenting the play or presenting this series or the monologue to the audience. And so it's for the benefit of the audience. It's not for us. It's all for the audience and what they get out of it. And so I think that's the best part about it.
With your tenure as a member of the New Directional Players, can you share with us what you would consider to be a memorable and exciting moment for you as a young budding actress?
Wow. Let's see. I've done a number of plays here at the Black Cultural Center. I think the best part I like about it is that we're always striving to do different things. So whether we're doing something that's a serious topic, and then you might do a comedic piece. I think the the most memorable moment, one of the best pieces that I think we've done was when we did, it was a series of scenes, and the one that I was in was Words, 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 where we were supposed to be monkeys. And I thought that was hilarious because this classical piece, you know, is really respected, and here we are, we're supposed to be monkeys in the piece learning how to type Shakespeare. And I thought that was the most memorable thing because we had to dress like comedic characters and dress like monkeys and act like monkeys. And the funniest part was at the end when one of the actors on stage, there were three of us, one of the actors was swinging on the swinging on the swing of the rope in the tree, and he knocked the fence down, and everybody loved it. And that kind of ended the scene early, but it was still good because the audience got the full effect of what it was, and we got the audience to laugh, which is what we were supposed to do. So I think that's one of my most memorable moments.
Great. As an actress, how would you define a climatic moment, a climatic theatrical moment?
Wow, I think a climatic theatrical moment occurs when you're in a piece, you've forgotten who you are, and which is what you're supposed to do when you're a character. When you become a character, you forget who you are. It's not about you, it's about that character and how that character feels in what moment in that situation. So I think a climatic moment is when you've forgotten who you are, you're only that actor, and you're only that character, and you just become that character, and you're in that moment. So if you're supposed to be angry, you are angry. You're not pretending or acting to be angry. You are angry, and the audience perceives you as angry, or whatever emotion that you're trying to do. I think that's the climatic moment where you, after the scene is over and people are clapping, you're like, whoa, wait a minute, did I just do that? You just lost sense of time because you were somebody completely else.
In one brief statement, sentence, how would you describe NDP, New Directional Players?
NDP, one brief statement. If I could describe NDP in one brief statement, I would say it's a new, evolving, and emerging group that's on the cutting edge of theater, and that's always trying to take things to the higher level and raise consciousness of our audience and take our audience to the next level of thinking.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.